Hello. I'm not sure what I'm actually coming on for. And as I say, with the live TV, anything can happen in the next few minutes. Uh, I've just come on to because I went out last night to a friend of mine to have a look at the website for the mediumship and what I'm looking to achieve over the coming year. And he said to me that the future is indeed video. So I need to get my head behind it and crack on with it. So basically, I'm coming on here and using this as a live advert to publicise where I'm actually at tomorrow. And I'm at the Imperial rooms at Matlock doing readings all day. Obviously, I won't look like this. I shall look a lot tidier and a lot smarter. But I think what I've actually come on for is to just talk about what I'm doing. I mean, I got a last minute opportunity to present a talk tomorrow that I'm thoroughly unprepared for. But then I think when you're working spiritually, you can't always be prepared. And I think just talking about trust going on there tomorrow. So I put it out to my guides, as I tend to do, and ask what sort of thing I'm going to talk about. So I thought I'd come on here and give people a little bit of a preview of where I see myself going and how I see myself presenting myself with this talk. And the theme of my talks is always about bringing in upliftment to people and hoping that people can gain some sort of different context to what they're thinking about themselves and how they're acting. So my reason for doing all of this is to show that people who've not had confidence in the past can actually, when they look inside deep enough, can actually access a tremendous amount of power if they'd only just at times step out of their own way. So my thing is tomorrow, when I stand up there in front of that audience, I'll be perfectly honest. I get up there and my stomach starts turning over in knots. And then you wait for spirit to come in there and start to buzz around you. And then I'll start with a little bit of my story. And unfortunately, tomorrow, I haven't got enough time to start with that story because it's only a half an hour slot. So the idea that's running around in my head at this moment in time is to talk about accessing your inner power. My reading style and how I'm promoting myself going forward will in fact change because I'm looking at guidance within the soul. Now, when people come for readings or consultations or messages with a medium, more often than not, they're actually looking for a link with somebody that's passed in spirit. Some mediums can guarantee what soul and what energy they're going to bring through. I'm different. I concentrate on the client. I concentrate on the person that comes and sits with me. And spirit for me are the like the cameo appearance, if you like. They are the ones that will turn up midway through to deliver a message. So when I go on the platform tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I shall just pick a person in the audience, focus on them, and just give exactly what the messenger from spirit's bringing through. You see, my viewpoint when I'm working is I don't need to validate the person that's coming through, whether it needs to be right or wrong, because I, as the conduit for spirit, do not need to concern myself with being right or wrong, whether the information's right or wrong. That information has got nothing to do with me. It's about bringing it through for a client. So going forward, even if it's a case of when that information comes through from spirit, is to pass that on to the person that sits opposite me. And even if it's from guide to their guide, so it helps them through a particular problem, then I'm well versed in sitting with people and walking through the more difficult side of the life. So, but what I found that has been quite difficult is how you actually market that. So what I'm doing is I do what I always do. I just be honest. I've got no business acumen or anything like that. I just go out there and I be me. And if the message that anybody that's looking at this takes from that is just going out there and being me, I want each and every one of you that's tuning in here when you're looking at this to realise that you are a unique, talented individual. And all the things that we worry about when when we look back on life, if we've got that opportunity to look back on the life that we've lived, would we have wasted time worrying about all the silly things that we worry about, or would we have started to bring about things in there that give us that better feeling, give us that bit of upliftment? So I read for everybody, and I don't worry who I'm sent, because I have this ultimate faith that Spirit will send me those people that I can help. So all these people that go out there and publicly perform and then doubt yourself, I don't understand why. Because I think people as a unit are amazing when they, when they actually access that inner power. So this going forward is going to be soul guidance, reading with there. I'm currently doing a wonderful course at the moment, analytical hypnotherapy with the brilliant John Richardson. And that's going to be something that I'm going to be launching later on. I'm studying Reiki at master level there, which is something else that I'm going to be bringing in, so that I'm one of these that believes in walking the walk. When you talk the talk, walk the walk. So whenever I've got issues, I want to sort of look at that first and foremost and get it dealt with, and then start walking forward. And then when I've got something there that I've got a format that I can work to, then I can bring that in and help other people. So combined with NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which talks about how we think and why we think like that, and combining it into a therapy with people, which is going to be guidance from soul to soul. I spend a lot of time on here, believe it or not, just speaking to people, and I say a lot of times to people, and they look at me like gone out. When you sort of struggling to find out what your gifts are, what it is that makes you. Just have a look on your normal daily life and see the people that draw to you. See the people that naturally come and sit beside you and start to talk to you, and then realize that it's no fluke, that people are actually coming to sit with you because you've got a gift, you've got something with their energy. So even if you sit there and you crack a silly gag, or you do silly voices or anything like that, these people need healing. Right, the power of the voice, the power of that universal energy, call it what you like, you generate that, and these people will draw to you. Sit there and just give out whatever it is that you are. So don't be worrying about, am I good enough to do anything like this? Am I good enough to go public? It's not necessary. This is part of the reason why I'm sat in front of you like this now, in my scruffs. So if I was one that got like paranoid about my the way that I'm presenting myself, then I would have had a shave, I would have put the waistcoat on, I would have dressed appropriately. But this is to talk about that this is me on 99% of the time. This is me. So I've had a really, really busy week. It's been amazing, up and down the country, delivering stuff, and I've done what needs to be done. And I put a post on Facebook last night. Now for the next 3 days, I'm doing what I want to do and how I want to proceed in the future. And people can like me or not like me, but it is not going to derail my progress. It's, people will sit with me and they'll form their own opinions. But the thing is, I can't do anything about that. I can't change that. And I just keep putting out for people, just be yourself, just be genuine. And then if people want to challenge you about your viewpoints or anything like that, let them. Don't let them derail you from the path that you should be on. Go out there, entertain, shine bright, be the stars that you are. I'm looking now from where I started out and where this has progressed to. Now that can sound a little bit egotistical, but I can promise you it's not, because my journey has been, well, I have to put it in a nice context, like a roller coaster. To have the confidence to actually get up in front of people or to speak on this live link there, it's took me, it's took a lot to be able to do it. So what I think now is, even when we get these days where things aren't seemingly going right, have a look back and see where you've got to, where you came from and where you've got to. Looking at how you treat yourself, how you think. So the first and last words out of your mouth towards yourself should always be complimentary. If they're not complimentary, then ask yourself, why are you doing that to yourself? Because like I write to a lot of people, the core function of every human being is to get that better feeling. And to get that better feeling, saying anything negative about yourself or being around people who are constantly negative to you is never going to give you a better feeling. Remember, every time you use your energy in any way, shape or form, it's an investment of your time and life's hours. Now, for me, I want to get the best out of my life and live the best possible life that I can do. And that for me, is to help as many people as I can access their inner self. So I go up and down the country, and I'm hoping to expand on that. But again, it's all right hoping with things, but what you have to do then is to start putting bite-sized, manageable chunks of things in there that you can achieve. And then be realistic about where you're aiming, be realistic about what you're looking to achieve. And then every time you achieve something, tick something off so that you've got that barometer point where when we have these days where we're a little bit off or we're a little bit tired or a little bit grumpy, we can go, well, at least I've made progress. I'm heading towards the goal that I've set myself. And if you're not quite there, have a good look round and see what you might be missing, who you might need to speak to, who might inspire you. Don't go and focus on things in your life that aren't going to source you any, aren't going to bring you any joy, aren't going to do anything good for you. So I always set out in the morning. I'm quite grumpy on a daily basis, but I think that's sometimes due to the time that I get up. But when it comes to actually working with spirit and the spirit energy, it is amazing. Flick that switch and bring in that dynamic power, that inner power there, and link with other people's dynamic inner power, and then see what results you're going to get. Anything that's floating around you that's dark or negative, don't focus on things in your life that you've got that you don't want, because that is energy that you could be using for something far more positive and uplifting. So like for me, I sit with a lot of clients and I say to them, so what are you aiming for in your life? And they'll probably come out with things like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be at peace. So I'll say, right, define what your happiness is. Because happiness for me is like I'm sat here today. I've got a cup of tea, fairly simple. I can go out and make a brew. I've been out with my dogs. I took my dogs around the woods, and that's the source of where I connect with spirit and bringing a lot of the thoughts and energies and that to bear. And that's my idea of happiness. I'm going out for a meal tonight, another simple process, but that will make me happy because I'm with my wife. Now, when you start to focus on hurdles and obstacles and problems, that's where the energy will flow to. So you will find that you'll be more aware of the more difficult things that you've got in life. Now, because we're all sat out here in this difficult world that we live in, and that in times of, how do I put it, like pressure, difficulties, we step up to the mark. And I can prove that by saying, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be here watching this. We wouldn't be here engaging with all of this, and we wouldn't be here living the life. So we're basically computer programs all the time, which know that when we get through periods of difficulty, yes, sometimes we get through by the skin of our teeth. Sometimes we're a bit battle scarred, but we always come through. Because if we don't come through, we ain't got no to worry about, have we? So when we've got things that are around there that are difficult, right, just trust yourself and know that in times of difficulty, that it will pass through. It's like waves on the beach. It's the ebb and flow of life. People spend far too much time over-analysing and procrastinating, where we could use that energy back for something that's, a lot better for yourself and a lot more progressive, by, thinking in a more positive manner. And there's enough people on Facebook and people around you in your daily life that will inspire you. You'll soon weed out the ones that aren't doing any good for you. So don't go to them. Don't look to advice from people who, as soon as you go there and your instincts tell you that something's not right there or something's not, don't feel right about them, don't go to them for advice. You wouldn't have a crap holiday and then book to go next year. And that's the way I tend to look at life. I am so lucky that I've had these, the wealth of support and that I get, and the guidance that I get from these people that I surround myself with. I am incredibly fortunate. So say, just for me, I am going to come on more on my mediumship page in a more regular basis to do card readings and things like that. But like I say, the way that I'm working and the way that my spiritual work is evolving is we're working a lot more around healing, because the feedback that I consistently receive from people is I either kick them up the arse, which is designed then to get them moving in the direction and being the best possible view of them. That's number one. And number two is healing. So even if you looked at like a Punch and Judy booth, when you sit there and you sit in front of that Punch and Judy booth and you enjoy that little bit of entertainment for 5 minutes, that takes that focus of some of the things in your life that you're not particularly enjoying at the moment. So even if you sat there with me for 5 or 10 minutes and we had a bit of a giggle about things and we just give you a little bit of perspective, can't always call that a reading. It's a consultation, because when people go away and then they've had time to think about it and slot that little jigsaw piece into their, into their daily lives, they'll adapt it. So I've done a lot of thinking just recently that what would I title myself as? So psychic, yeah, I think we're all psychic. Medium, yes, which by definition for me is talking about being a channel to bring energy through. Healer, yes, but actually acknowledging that having the ability to talk and communicate with people is a fabulous skill. The people there that do Reiki and actually use the energy, there's another string to the bow. Spiritual counseling, which is where I want to take all of the work that I do. This work that I do is such a passion. It is not about making money. It is about hopefully turning people around and getting them to being able to look at themselves in the mirror. And there are no perfect people out there. I don't care what they say, but being able to look in that mirror and accept what's looking back at them. And just going out there and living the best life that you can live, because it is a difficult life, and we're one phone call away from always having a different outcome. So what I do now is I look for the steps that are going to give me progress. So I'll recommend NLP, I'll recommend hypnotherapy, I'll recommend going to Reiki. But then if you're the sort of person out there that enjoys going out there and having a beer, do what you need to do to get that better feeling. Don't go down the route of putting yourself in a dark place, because every single person that looks at this, whatever they think about me, I can't change that. But what I can guarantee you is that when people message me with whatever there is that they've got going on with them, I listen. Right? I take that on board. That's part of the thing of being an empath. I take that all on board. I take that all in. And it drives me. It absolutely drives me. It's a compulsion to help people, to help them forward. I'm not going to sit here and say to you that as whatever it is that I'm labeling myself as is reinventing the wheel, or I'm going to have all of the answers. But what I am going to be able to do is point you in the direction of yourself and say, right, what skills have you got? What can you do to improve your life? Because to me, the answer to a lot of life's problems is actually being out, again, repeating myself and looking at yourself and just going, this is my skill set. People sit with me and talk about being lost and having no direction in life. So you'll then present them with a set of scenarios and just go, why don't you be an airline pilot? Oh, well, no, that doesn't suit me. Or why don't you go out and do this? No, that's not me. So we can automatically focus on the things that aren't us and what we're not going to do. Well, let's have that energy back and just go, right, this is what I fancy doing. This is where I see myself going. Set yourself a short time frame, a short goal list, and then achieve it. Move on to the next thing. Hi, Emma. I hope you're well. A few people here joining on here. I say it's not about doing any readings or anything like that. I mean, there's a quick plug for that I'm in the Imperial Rooms at Matlock tomorrow. Doing readings for the day in there. I was there in February and it was a fantastic day out there. But again, for me, it's the continuation after that of looking to inspire people, looking to get people to communicate with one another, going to the people that inspire them, getting people to help them. And, because that in turn then, I'm not saying that we can change the world just by having a happy conversation, but surely when we've got enough people round and about us that have got the same progressive mindset, then we can start to move things. We can start to get, better things happening for us. So with me, I'm like I say, I'm dead honest. I don't always know what I'm doing. I sit here and like when I go for get up and do a demonstration or do a talk, I can't tell you what the mechanics of it is that I'm going to do. All I know is that I trust the energy, I trust the spirit around me, and I just go out there and perform and go out there and do that. But even I'm seeing a lot of people here that are, yeah, thanks, boss. I've got my book in my bag. I've lost my train of thought there, but that's what I'm like. It's just knowing that, that spirit around me, the energy, whatever you want to call it, God, source energy, universal energy, that they're around us all. You know, so these people that when you put out your thoughts, oh, I wish mum was here, I wish dad was here, or anything like that, my honest belief, my opinion is they always are. They will bring signs, they will bring little bits and pieces in for you. Just acknowledge it, because it's not saying I can't prove anything, and I'll be perfectly honest, and I don't sit out to try and do that. All I look at from my point of view is trying to bring comfort to people, trying to bring upliftment, trying to bring context into things, and push. And I've been very fortunate in my life, and I'm looking at quite a lot of people here that are saying, you know, that I've been fortunate enough to meet on my spiritual journey, that have all brought little bits to me, whether they realise it or not. So I'm sort of part Womble, who used to make use of things that they could find, and part Jackdaw, because I love shiny stuff. So if you put the shiny stuff with the things that you can use, there's little tidbits from everybody that you meet. And it's only the gold shiny stuff that you want to use, because some of the rubbish that we get taught, you know, when we look at the telly, or we think about our upbringing, or we focus on the pain, then does that progress us anywhere? Does that give us that better feeling? I am constantly inspired by people that contact me and bring me things. I mean, I'm looking on here, and these names that are coming up at the side here of people that have joined. I just find them, you know, when I think back and we get that happy memory link. So, hiya, Dave, long time no see, mate. So, a name like that is a blast from my past. The thing is with me, right, I am what I say I am, and I'm not changing, you know, changing my way. So, all of these people that come and they've met me and they've known me from years past, I'm no different. I just have a different context on life, a different way of looking at things. I haven't suddenly, you know, found myself or anything like that, because I have days where I struggle with things, but I put it into context, because all of these things that we struggle with will give you that inner strength, that inner guidance. And my work is all about getting people to access that. So as many people as I can talk to, when you realize that that is a speciality of mine, and anybody who's met me will agree with that, I just go with whatever spirit direct me with. You know, I suffer from nerves when you get up on stage or get in front of people, but the feedback that I receive is incredible. You're always going to get people out there that disagree with you or don't like what you're going to do or the way that you act in life. Well, as I'm being polite today, I'm not going to stick any fingers up or give any rude swear words or anything like that. But it's a thought to think there about putting out to people who put you down, right? It says more about them than it does about you. If you can look yourself in the mirror and just say, I've done the best that I can for me, looking after myself, because at the end of the day, if push comes to shove, you're always going to have your own back, or you should do. So when you find yourself talking about yourself in the negative, or I can't do, or I don't look like this, or I'm not as good as that, stop yourself. Pump the brakes. Say something nice to yourself. Say a kind word. You know, oh, I did something nice for somebody yesterday, or I helped somebody out, or I gave a bit of feedback to somebody that helped them through their day. Because you never realise just what a difference that little thing can make. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate that. I've no idea what I come on for. I was just in the kitchen making a brew. I've got back from walking my dogs, and it was go live. And as I said at the beginning of this, the guy who does my website says that the thing is about videos. I don't have a problem talking, so I just come on here and it's talking about the amount of people that have contacted me with issues about things. And when you start to break people's issues down, it talks about self-doubt. Now, I can't go too deeply into the therapy side of things, but what I do with things is I listen, I absorb. I'm like a sponge. I take all the stuff in that I can use, and then I apply a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of glitter, a little bit of shiny with it, and put it out in a way that I can not only understand but that I can deliver. Now, the way that I've understood the hypnotherapy training that I've done up to now is that a lot of the thoughts that we think in our head are generated by the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not interested in fact or fiction; it just wants attention. So those of us that have a tendency to think along the negative, your subconscious mind there has got a captive audience, because it'll say something to you and your conscious mind will say to you, I'm busy. I've got no time. I've got no time to listen to any of this rubbish. I've got a list a mile long and I must accomplish. So that's where you're focusing. Your subconscious mind is then like a sulky toddler that wants mum's attention, and it'll start pulling at your apron strings. Right, but I really need attention. So you'll go, right, what? Right, what is it that you're trying to get at me for? So you'll listen, and it'll be nothing. It'll be just drivel. It'll just be, a memory link somewhere that's trying to take you down a road that you don't need to be going down. If you don't pay it enough attention, it will then look for threads, and it'll pull the thread and it'll look for a jackpot. And then we take a mindset down a pathway that is self-destructive. Because what happens is the past no longer exists. It's just a residue of energy that comes into your now moment. The future is not yet here. So the only thing that you can actually influence is your present moment. We can go back into the past and change the programmings that we've done there, because what we'll look at is the evidence base of how we handle things on a given moment, and then we can change those things. But we can't change a past. We can influence a future, but it's no good worrying about an event that hasn't happened, because like I said right at the beginning of this, when bad things happen, we deal with them. But it's what people think about themselves that's absolutely critical. And so I'm going to spend the rest of my time that whatever I do when I'm working is getting people to believe in themselves, because that's what got me started with all this. That's what got me going. So whether that was through the prison service of where I spent 12 years of my life on the landings dealing with difficult people, whether that was going through the church and dealing with the circles and development and things like that, doing my own shows, and all the things there. I believe that we go through things because we've constructed things in our life there so that we can learn lessons. Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And that's where my passion lies. It's talking to people to hopefully at a level that they can understand for them, right? Because I'm no brain box. I just need to find a current link where I can get in to get them to look inwardly, right? Use the stuff that's positive for you, and then you can recycle that and maybe help somebody else. The stuff that is no use, don't keep rehashing it, because you already know that it's only going to give you the same thing that it's always given you. NLP, anybody who's done NLP will know that if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And that was one of the big things that I took from that. So now when I start thinking an old thought, I think, well, the end result of that has always been, now if that gives me a positive feeling or a bit of upliftment or some energy to push forward, then I'll use that thought again. But if it's given me distress or dis-ease or upset or anything like that, I'll let it go, because it's got no part in my life anymore. You're here to be the true, authentic you. That is, that is how I see it. Now, people can agree or disagree with me, and I can't change your opinion, and I wouldn't want to. But my passion is people. I've just noticed one of my colleagues has joined me on here. We come up against people that are going to push your buttons. That is reality, right? That is reality. But you deal with that, and then you move past it, and then you move on to the next thing, because there are going to be people out there that are drawn to the true, authentic you. Just go out there when they're seeking your advice. I get so many people that come to me as well that can't take a compliment. When you say just thank you for that, well, why have they said that to me? Where did that come from? To be honest, does it really matter? When people sit with me, I did a reading the other week at a fair, and I sat with this gentleman, and he sort of looked at me. I don't really believe in any of this. He said, but I've come to you because you gave a reading for somebody last year, and all of it's come true. And I don't do predictions. That's the thing. I don't do predictions. What I do is I turn people in the direction that they need to go in for themselves. And anything that they bring in for themselves in that year is because they've got to grips with themselves going forward. And they bring in all this brilliant stuff for themselves. So to pay me a compliment and say, oh, it's you that's done it, well, yes, I'm flattered, because if there's people out there that say they're not flattered, then I think, I doubt what they're saying. So what I do is I just trust, that the people that have come to me are sent for a reason, and then just work with whatever energy that they present me, and then hopefully send them on the way, and then we'll get feedback like that. But all of you professionals out there that are looking in there, you change people's lives, right? And when some people come that you've turned round and you've helped with a kind word, might have difficulty in expressing themselves. So you don't know that somebody who's suffering with anxiety, that you've said a couple of words, or you've just been with them, you've stood shoulder to shoulder with them, and you've helped them through a difficult point in their life, for them to be able to turn around to you and say, thank you. And, you know, you don't know what it takes for somebody to come up to somebody that they don't know and say, thank you, you've influenced my life. So my homework now going forward is I don't check into it. I wrote an article recently about saying that having positive and negative thoughts in your head, given the same amount of time in your head, brief, you know, take the plaudits when it comes in, say thank you, move on to the next one, because there's other people out there to help. The negative ones in there, if there's anything in there that you can actually work with, then brilliant. And if there isn't, let it go, right? Because people are going to have opinions. People are going to like you. People are going to dislike you. There's nothing you can do to influence either, because that's their mindset. And even the ones that sit with me that disagree and think, oh, I'm a load of shit, or where's he coming from? It's not for me to take to pieces, because I don't know, once they've gone away from my environment, my arena, what's going to happen with them. I've just got the faith in spirit and the energies that I work with, that person will take something on board. And this is what I say to everyone, even the successful ones, that if you take 1% of what we've come up with, you know, I can give you another example of that. I sell these little card readings at events where I sit with a tarot card. All right, Chris, I hope you're well, mate. I sit with a tarot card and I write, sit with a tarot card in my hand, and then just start to write. Once I've finished writing and brought in any messages, I stick it on an envelope and stick it out there, and I talk to people with it. Hand that over to the client when they buy it. There's usually a reason why people pick colours, and you can do a bit of a psychic reading with them as they stood there live. But they'll pull the card out, and somewhere in that paragraph or whatever it is that I've written in there, there'll be something that will resonate with them. Now, there was one lady in particular this year that just looked at it, and I said to her, "Is there anything in there that resonates with it?" She went, "No," she said, "but it brought a lovely fond memory back of me skinny dipping while I was on holiday." And it took me aback a little bit, because I thought, well, I've done all of that work there, bringing a message through that I believe was from spirit. And that's where a memory link took her to, was skinny dipping somewhere on holiday. But then when you take that to pieces and realise that for that £3, when she took that thing there, if you'd have watched her when she's come, like loaded up with the things that we have to do in life, then to see a face light up and a smile, that where she's brought this positive memory up there, then things like that are what makes this all worthwhile. Things are, you know, where you get up in front of people and the nerves kick in.